he had some money in the stock portfolio too.
Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet.
What was the performance of the biggest stock positions in his portfolio?
Went up by 101.60%.
How you doing, guys? It's Damien here. We all love to look at other people's pockets, and whose pockets might be very interesting. Of course, the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. We are going to look at his stock market portfolio based on the Federal Election Commission filings. We will look at the performance of his stocks in comparison with the broader stock market. I do not think that Donald Trump needs an introduction. He's the president of the United States. Before entering politics, he was a businessman and a television personality. The net worth of Donald J. Trump was a popular story during the last presidential election. Trump has said on multiple occasions that his net worth is exceeding $10 billion. According to estimates of companies like Forbes or Bloomberg, his net worth is around $3.5 billion. That makes him one of the wealthiest politicians in American history and the first billionaire American president.
His assets include skyscrapers in New York City, 40 Wall Street, and the Trump Tower. He also owns golf course resorts in Florida, New York, New Jersey, and Scotland.
He was chairman and president of the Trump Organization, which he inherited from his father, Fred Trump. He turned over operations of his business empire to his two adult sons after he moved into the Oval Office in January 2017. The vast majority of Trump's wealth is in real estates, but according to what he disclosed in a Finance Election Committee filing in May 2016, he had some money in the stock portfolio too.
Smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It will help reach more people and will encourage me to give you more useful content. Here you can see the 14 most significant stock market positions of Donald Trump on the 31st May 2016, as by the Federal Election Commission filings. The Commission allows candidates to give broad estimates of asset worth. To visualize the companies in the pie chart, I just took the average value from the ranges given. It is a simplification, but it will allow for an easier understanding of the biggest positions in this portfolio. I showed sectors in respective colors. The biggest exposure at that time in Donald Trump's portfolio was to technology companies. It is displayed in dark blue: Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet. Next significant exposure is to the consumer sector. Pepsi Corporation and Nike represent this sector. Then we have financial companies in green. Red color indicates healthcare companies.
When a candidate in the election wins a presidential election, it's customary for the winner to either sell all equity holdings or place them into a trust. This is done to avoid creating conflicts of interest. It has been confirmed that Donald Trump had sold his stocks at the end of 2016. But let's see what would happen if he didn't sell these shares. I will show you what was the performance of the biggest stock positions in his portfolio until now.
From 31st May 2016 till 6th December 2019, which is slightly more than 3.5 years, the S&P 500 index went up by 50.02%. But 14 the most significant positions from Donald Trump's portfolio went up by 101.60%. It looks like Donald Trump is a good stock picker. Here is how Donald Trump's biggest stock holdings performed. The numbers include dividends paid. The best positions almost tripled the value during that time. Apple, which was the biggest position, increased by 181%, or more than 51% annually. That is incredible growth. In my portfolio, Apple is still my third biggest stock market position. The second biggest position was Microsoft. The company did even better than Apple as it grew by 198%. These two positions show that we should not rely too much on diversification. Just choose the best companies and let them increase your wealth. There was one more technology company within 14 biggest positions, Alphabet. The company grew by 79% during this period. And that is the company I also have in my stock market portfolio. It is my second biggest stock market position. Two of Donald Trump's positions are in the consumer defensive sector and the consumer cyclical sector. The consumer goods sector is a category of stocks and companies that relate to items purchased by individuals and households rather than by manufacturers and industries. These companies make and sell products that are intended for direct use by the buyers. The representative of the consumer defensive sector was Pepsi Corporation. The company grew by 48%. Nike, which belongs to the consumer cyclical category, increased by 81%. Then we have positions in the financial services sector. The representative of the banks industry was JP Morgan. The stock price of JP Morgan went up by 120%. Visa, which facilitates electronic funds transfers throughout the world, increased the share price by 135%. The sectors which we looked at so far performed extremely good. Next, let's look at the industries which did not perform as good. Donald Trump might be happy with selling healthcare stocks. McKesson went down by 20%. Johnson & Johnson underperformed the broader stock market and grew only by 35%. Gillette Sciences went down by 19% and Celgene went up by merely 3%. Two other sectors which were present within these 14 biggest positions in Donald Trump's stock portfolio before he was inaugurated as the 45th President of the United States were industrials and energy. The industrials sector is comprised of companies that provide commercial and industrial products and services. General Electric went down by 54%. Caterpillar performed much better and increased by 113%. The last company from these 14 most significant positions was Phillips 66. The stock price increased by 53%, so the result was in line with the wider market. The S&P 500 index increased by 50% during that period. United States President Donald Trump said that being president has cost him between $2 billion and $5 billion that he would have made if he had continued running his business instead of getting into politics.
We cannot verify it, but we have just confirmed that if President Donald Trump did not sell his stock market positions, he could double the value of his stocks. The best performers were big names like Apple, Microsoft, or Visa. These are companies with a moat, which means that people will use products of these companies whatever happens. As Donald Trump said, the more predictable the business, the more valuable it is. We did not see speculative companies in his stock market portfolio. The lesson from his portfolio is to choose predictable businesses, but also do not try to time the market. If you bought shares of a great company, hold it and let it make you rich. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe or feel free to add me on Instagram, Stocks and Freedom. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy investing!